Hey guys, this is Dr. Callahan for Algebra 1 Semester 2 for Week 19 Friday. We're actually going to finish up your Algebra 1 Semester 2 study guide number 1. So it looks like this, and I believe it was given to you guys on Week 18 Monday. And so these were the first few questions. We've gone over all of these, and today we're going to finish up the last two, which is Week 19 Friday, number 66 and 65. And then remember, your answer sheet is right there as well, so you're able to kind of check your answers. So with that said, let's go ahead and turn over to number 65. So for those of you guys who have this, make sure you guys go on to number 65, and we'll finish the last two questions, and then we'll move on to study guide number 2. I know you're like, it doesn't end. It doesn't. Like, it doesn't end until like you guys take the finals. So I feel like one study guide is not enough. You got to have at least 2 of them, so you get all the exposure to all of the questions. Your finals for this class is not going to be an easy final. It's a district final. It's a high secure test. And do not really think that your grade is going to be going higher after the final, because chances are it's really not. It's probably going to go lower. And the reason for that is because the test is cumulative, so it includes everything that you've learned since like January of this year, and a lot of students tend not to do well on it. So that's why I always encourage you guys to get your safety grade of 75%, so when you take the final, your grade doesn't dip too low. Okay, so for number 65, which expression will produce a rational number? The keyword here is a rational number. Well, what is the definition of a rational number? Let's go ahead and just start with that first. So if you're ever unsure about something on the study guide, you can always Google that at home. Granted, you cannot Google that, on the day of the test, obviously. Okay, so this chart actually does a pretty good job of explaining it. If you guys take a look at this, you start out with natural numbers, okay? So the 3, 70, 21, no zeros. Whole numbers are everything that's a rational number, but you can also include a 0. Sorry, let me go ahead and just paste that here. Okay, then integers, now you have negative numbers, basically. Okay, and then rational numbers are all the numbers, including negative numbers, whole numbers, zeros, fractions, decimal. Okay, irrational numbers are these numbers over here on the right side. These are the ones that doesn't have any pattern. It just continues on going on and on forever. And so that's what it's asking you. So first thing I would suggest you doing is grabbing your calculator, because this one will be a lot easier with a calculator to figure it out. So if I grab my calculator, mine's is going to look a little bit different than yours because mine's is a graphing one, but yours is a scientific one. That's okay, because you can still use it. Okay, make sure you figure out where the square root button is on your scientific calculator. If you're not sure what the answer is for this, you should always take a look at the answer first. So I'm just going to briefly take a glimpse of this, and it's number 65. So the correct answer is C as in cat. Okay, so I have an idea. And so now here's my calculator. So let's go ahead and use it. So if I thought my answer is A, it is 6 square root 9 plus 2 square root 5. Oh goodness, hold on. 6 square root 9, there we go, plus 2 square root 5. On your scientific calculator, you might have to do it separately. If I take a look at this, do you see how this number just continues going on and on forever with a bunch of patterns or no patterns? This is not a rational number. This is a irrational number. Now let's compare it to B. B is a square root of 2 plus 7. That still gives you something very similar to A. Do you see how it's just a bunch of decimals and it just keeps going on and on forever? That's irrational. It's not a rational number. Let's take a look at D. Or actually, what do you see? C is going to be a negative 3, so I'm just putting negative 3 square root 8. And then times, not a plus, 2 square root 8. If you hit enter, what do you get? You get a negative 48. Do you see how that number is like a perfect number and there's no decimals that just keeps going on and on forever? But let's check D. For D, you have to do a cube root. You guys have a cube root button on your calculator. So then 25 times 4 square root 16. Okay, so those are pretty much the three that we use. Can you guys kind of just like see that the only one that sticks out that seems to be different is probably C? Do you guys agree with that? So your correct answer in this situation is actually C as in cat. Because that's the only one that does not have a bunch of weird patterns going on. And it is the only one that is like a whole number, but it's also a negative number. So that is a rational number. So answer is C as in cat. Okay, let's take a look at number 66, which is our last question. Which of the following expression is equivalent to this? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this number right here, square root of 3, multiply it in, multiply it in. Okay, that's what we're going to do. Square root of 3 times the square root of 3 is a square root of 9. Square root of 3 times square root of 6 is a square root of 12. No, 18. Just kidding. Because 8 times or 6 times 3 is 18. Yeah, there we go. So then from here, you know that square root of 9 as a perfect square root, which gives you a 9. And then your 18, you're just going to break it down to 9 and 2, which, you know, that makes sense. Do you guys agree that square root of 9 gives me a 3? And it does. So what I'm going to do with this one is that's going to give me a 3. So what's 2 times 3? 2 times 3 is a 6. Don't forget your square root of 2, which is the leftover. Okay, so then looking at this one, which one does it match? I think A as an apple is it. Don't you guys agree with that? I think that's the only one that it will work with. Just remember that all of your perfect squares, remember you guys, is like square root of 4 is 2, square root of 9 is 3, square root of 16 is 4, square root of 25 is 5, square root of 36 is 6, and then of course, if you continue going on, 7 will be a 49, 8 will be a 64, and 9 will be a 81, etc., and so on and so forth. You could use a calculator, so make sure you know your square roots. That's it, you guys. We are officially done with pretty much everything that you need to know for your first study guide. And so congratulations, you did an entire final. If this was a final, you just aced it because we went over all the questions. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to your study guide number 2. But before we do that, I want you guys to go to the very beginning of your study guide number 1, which is on page week 18 Tuesday, I believe. And I want you guys to list the questions you're still unsure of. So now that you've finished all of your study guide, and then from there, I want you guys to go and take a look at the timetable right here. This is your weekly study guide timetable. Specifically, I want you guys to focus on Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday. Like, what are you going to do in the next 3 days to prepare for your final, which is next Friday? Okay, so take about 2 minutes and fill that part out. You guys, so we're going to move on to the next part of this. So flip your paper by 1 more page over. Okay, if you flip your paper by 1 more page over, you will have your study guide number 2, and it says Algebra 1 semester 2 study guide number 2, and it looks like this. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is with your highlighters, I mean, at this point you pretty much have gone over the entire first study guide. So if you're taking that task, you would have done the whole thing, right? Granted, your actual test is not going to be 67 questions. It'll be a little bit smaller than that. I think it's about 45. And so with your highlighters, highlight the questions that you think you kind of already know, maybe the questions that you don't know, and maybe highlight the questions that you think you know but unsure of. You don't have to do that for all of them, but just take a look into it, because this one's a little bit shorter. This one is questions number 1, and it goes all the way over to 57. And then if you guys take a look on the right side, you actually have the answer sheets right there as well for this. Although I just noticed that it stops at question number 30. So I'm like, what happened to question number 31 to 57 for the answer sheet? But that's okay, because I will find it for you guys. And so take about maybe 5 more minutes, the rest of the class, to look at your second study guide number 2. When I see you guys back here on Tuesday of next week, we are going to hit the ground running, going over these questions, just so you guys know, okay? And so over the weekend, I might suggest, if your study guide number 1 is not done yet, go to the YouTube channel, Make sure you guys start out week 18 Monday, go over the video so you have all the questions. And then this weekend, look at study guide number 2. Try some of these questions on your own, because next Friday when you guys take the test, I won't be there to guide you guys and go, hey, this is how you do this question. The correct answer is this. How did I get this correct answer? You're going to have to do this on your own. Okay, so I just want to make sure you guys are adequately prepared. So for those of you guys on Zoom, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you guys on Tuesday of next week. Take care.